today. So please open at page number 133. Page number 133. The sermon at Veneras. Now, if I ask what is sermon, we know sermon is a religious or moral teaching, a moral advice. When actually a religious leader preaches this advice, preaches this moral teaching to a mass, to a people, this is known as sermon. At Veneras we know it's a holy pilgrimage for the Hindu pilgrims in Veneras. Now before we read what is there, that use a dictionary or ask for your teacher's help as you discuss the following questions in group. Few questions over there. Let us discuss what is a sermon. As I have already told, sermon is a religious or moral teaching done by the religious guru. Is it different from a lecture or a talk? Yes, it is different. A lecture might be on any topic, might be on politics, might be on nature, might be anything, but a sermon should be on religious topic or moral teaching. This is moral teaching. So in that sense, a sermon is different from a lecture. Can this word also be used in a negative way or as a joke, as in my mother's sermon about getting my work done on time? No, actually, when it's sermon, when it's religious teaching, when it's moral teaching, we must not use it in a negative way. Sometimes we use it as a joke, that such as what is that, my mother's sermon about getting my work done on time. When mother is telling or advising, we might say something that mother is giving sermon to us, but we must not use it in a negative way. Now, a few meanings over there. I feel meanings we will get it. We will get these words whenever we will read the text, and then we will find out the meanings of these words as well. Now, question number 3: have you heard of Sermon on Mount? Who delivered it? I am telling Sermon of Mount. It has been delivered by Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ delivered that Sermon on Mount. Who do you think delivered a sermon at Veneras? Sermon at Veneras, it has been delivered. We will find out that who delivered the sermon at Veneras. Okay, so let us start. Gotham Buddha. We all know the name Gotham Buddha. And one thing, whenever we think about Gotham Buddha, whenever we just utter the word Gotham Buddha, it seems that a person with calm and quiet, as if our mind becomes very calm and cool by this name, Gotham Buddha. He was born 563 BC before Christ, died 483 BC. Began as a prince named Siddhartha Gautam. So Gautam Buddha, when he actually was born, he was a son of a king, and he started his life as a prince, and his name was Siddhartha Gautam. And he was born, just keep it in mind, because for MCQ we will have to answer lots of MCQ. So in MCQ question may come that on which year Gautam Buddha was, how many years ago Gautam Buddha was born. It was 563 BC, and his name was Siddhartha Gautam. In northern India he was born. At 12 he was sent away for schooling in the Hindu sacred scriptures, and 4 years later he returned home to marry a princess. Now at 12 he was sent away for schooling in the Hindu sacred scriptures. Now he was sent to school at the age of 12 to read Hindu sacred scriptures. What does it mean? Sacred means that is pious, that is very pure. Scriptures, holy writings. So he was sent to read the holy writings of Hindu holy writings. And after 4 years, so when he was crossed 16 years old, he came back and he married a princess. So at the age of 16, he married a princess. They had a son and lived for 10 years as befitting royalty. And he was a prince, he was the king of, he was the son of a king. So he led his kingly life. He led his royal life for 10 years after he's married. Almost 10 years, 9 years. At about 25, at about the age of 25. So at 12, he was sent to school for reading holy scriptures, for learning holy writings, Hindu holy writings. Then he came back. He married at the age of 16, and at the age of 25, and after his marriage he just led a royal life. Then at the age of 25, the prince, heretofore shielded from the sufferings of the world, while out hunting, chanced upon a sick man, then an aged man, then a funeral procession, and finally a monk begging for alms. So this king, he became king because he led that life. And at the age of 25, when he came out for hunting, now he met with this real condition there. He was this word is there, that he was shielded. Here to four shielded. Here up to means up to this. Here to four means up to this. Shielded. He was detached. He was barricaded from this reality of this world. He was barricaded from this reality of this world. He did not know what was the reality. Just we can compare that. In class 9 you were taught Happy Prince, that the statue of Happy Prince was telling this to the swallow, that he did not know that how people were living their life in this misery, how pain they had, what type of sorrowfulness they had in their life. Here also Siddhartha Gautam, when he was a king, he did not know that people with misery and painfulness and all this. So when he came and he met with four different people, at first he chanced upon means here came across by chance. Came across, it's a phrasal verb, it means meet suddenly. So he met suddenly with a sick man, who's a diseased person, then an aged man, then he met with an old person, then a funeral procession. He saw a procession where a dead body is being taken, for its funeral. And then finally a monk begging for alms. So he had seen these four. He met with a sick man, he met with an old man, he saw a funeral procession, and he saw a monk begging for alms. These sights so moved him that he at once went out into the world to seek enlightenment concerning the sorrows he had witnessed. Now he was so much influenced by this sorrowfulness, that he saw a sick person, he saw an old man, he saw a monk begging for alms, he saw a funeral procession, that this sight actually influenced him so much, and he wanted to know, he wanted to reach to that root of that sorrowfulness, and he wanted to this enlightenment, he wanted to be enlightened. He wandered for, and here enlightenment means a state of high spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge means that will give you the, actually this is the knowledge that will give you the real cause of the sufferings in this world. Now he wandered for 7 years. He wandered means he visited from this place to that place. He visited from this place to that place. And finally sat down under a peepal tree. Where? Do you know where? Finally he sat down a peepal tree. Subhajit. Alms means begging. Alms means the corn, begging for the crops. Now do you know where he used to sit? Under a peepal tree? In Diden, Goa. In Goa. Diden in Bihar, in Jharkhand, at present in Jharkhand. And he wandered for 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree, where he vowed, and there he vowed means he promised to stay until enlightenment came. And there he actually promised that I should sit in that meditation, in my contemplation, until that enlightenment came to me. I want to know the real cause of this suffering. Enlightened after 7 days, he renamed the tree the Bodhi tree of wisdom, and began to teach and to share his new understandings. And with that determination, he sat under this peepal tree, and within 7 days he was enlightened. He got this enlightenment. He got this wisdom. He got this knowledge of his spirit. And really, he renamed this tree. He gave the tree as a Bodhi tree. In Bengali, this is known as Bodhi Bhikkho. The word Bodhi, the Bodh, it comes from wisdom, consciousness. So tree of wisdom, and begin to teach, to share his new understanding. And the new understanding that he gathered, as he was enlightened, he got that understanding. He now came to know the real cause of suffering in this world. that nobody, actually anybody doesn't have this enlightenment, they cannot understand this. But as Gotham Buddha had received this enlightenment, he was enlightened. Now he could understand the real cause behind the suffering, so and all this. Now, a new understanding. At that point, he became known as the Buddha, the awakened or the enlightened. And the word Buddha means the awakened or enlightened. Mark it. Question may come in MCQ that what do you mean by the word Buddha? It's known as awakened or enlightened. Awakened means who is already very much conscious about. So he actually knew. He actually knew. The Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Veneras, most holy of the dipping places on the river Ganges. That sermon has been preserved and is given here. Now, the sermon that we are going to read in this chapter, it's really it's the sermon that actually Gautam Buddha had delivered. Gautam Buddha had preached this sermon at the dipping places, means the bathing ghat of the holy Ganges at Veneras. And this is the first sermon. This is the first religious teaching that he delivered for the common people. And this has been preserved, and this we are going to read. It reflects the Buddha's wisdom about one inscrutable kind of suffering. Yeah, inscrutable means that something that cannot be understood. Yes. We actually, the common people, we all suffer from pain or sorrowfulness. Everybody suffers from. Now, we don't know what is the real cause behind it. What is the real cause behind it? So, he got this enlightenment, and he wanted to teach the people what is the real cause of the sorrowfulness. What we should do to avoid this sorrowfulness in life, to avoid the misery of life. Now, he started this sermon. This is the first sermon that Gautam Buddha delivered. Kisa Gautami, he was telling this story, that Kisa Gautami had an only son and he died. Kisa Gautami was a mother, and the mother had a son, and the son died. In her grief, she carried the dead child to all her neighbors, asking them for medicine. And the people said, she has lost her senses, the boy is dead. A mother, a bereaved mother, a grief-stricken mother, she was not ready to accept that her only child was dead. So, taking the dead child in her arms, the lady, Kisa Gautami, she used to roam around the city. He used to go door to door. He went door to door to of her neighbors and requested them, asked them to give medicine so that he could revive her child. Revive means to bring life back. People knew, because this is impossible. But the mother was so grief-stricken, the mother was so miserable at the death of her child, that the mother was not ready to accept that my child had died. Now she had lost her senses, and the boy is dead. And the people used to tell, the boy is dead, but he has lost his senses. It means Kisa Gautami had become a mad woman. People used to say this. At length means after a long time, when she actually went door to door, she actually asked all the neighbor for giving medicine so that he could alive her son. Kisa Gautami met a man who replied to her request, I cannot give the medicine for thy child, but I know a physician who can. Now, Kisa Gautami met with a man, and that man told Kisa Gautami that I myself cannot give you any medicine to revive your child. But I know a physician who can. Here see some archaic English there. I cannot give thee, T-H-E-E, thee means you. Medicine for thy child, T-H-Y, thy means your. These are known as Old English or archaic English. Can you remember in which story earlier you were taught this archaic English? Can you remember the chapter, the name of that story? I can remember. Then in one story that you were taught earlier, not in class 10, earlier you were taught, and there was the archaic English of use was there. Can you remember the chapter's name where these old type of English were used? Nobody can. I am telling. Selfish giant. In class 8 you were taught selfish giant. So in selfish giant this archaic English was used. Now here also that man told, and the girl said, "Pray tell me, sir, who is it?" And the man replied, "Go to the Sakkamuni, the Buddha." The man told that go to Buddha, and Buddha was told as Sakkamuni as well. Kisa Gautami repaired to Buddha and cried. Here repaired, a stylistic use of English, went to Buddha, to Gotham Buddha, and cried, "Lord and Master, give me the medicine that will cure my boy." The boy was died, and the crazy lady was asking medicine from Gotham Buddha, and the lady had the faith on Gotham Buddha that after taking this medicine, she could actually survive her child. The Buddha answered, "I want a handful of mustard seed." The Buddha answered, "Okay, bring a handful of mustard seed." And when the girl in her joy promised to procure it, the Buddha said, and the woman was very happy because a handful of mustard seed was very much available. She could easily bring this and give it to Gotham Buddha, as Gotham Buddha told. When that woman was very happy and she wanted to procure this handful of mustard seed, the Buddha added, Gotham Buddha told, the mustard seed must be taken from a house where no one has lost a child, husband, parent, or friend. Gotham Buddha had given a condition to that woman, that it's true that you must bring a handful of mustard seed, but you must bring it from such a house where death was unknown. In that house, that no one has lost a child, husband, parent, or friend, means death was unknown to the house. If you can bring a handful of mustard seed from such a house, then I could help you to alive your child. This was the condition of Gotham Buddha. Now what the woman did, we will continue in our next class, because it's time up. So again we will meet it in our next class, and I feel definitely we'll be able to complete this chapter in our next class, and then we will discuss more about writing part and grammar. So thank you very much for joining my class. Thank you.